Good morning, guys. Today I'm going to walk through the steps on how to change the headlight bulbs on my 2004 Dodge Dakota. Recently ordered some LEDs. Headlight bulbs probably have been changed out, but they're the same halogen bulbs. So we're going to give LEDs a shot and see if we can get more of a modern, brighter white type look. All right. Alright, so it is approximately 6:30 p.m. Sun's going down, and I'm here at inside the truck with the lights on. This is just regular beams, and that's high beams. So you can see the baseline, let's call it, and approximately 12 feet away from the garage door. Just a quick shot. Hopping out with the lights on, front perspective. All right, let's get the new ones installed. All right, to start off, changing the headlight bulbs, open up the hood, and then we're gonna loosen the battery terminal, negative, avoid any kind of discharge. And to do that, you need a 10 millimeter and loosen that up. All right, got the negative terminal off. And first thing we're going to do is right in the corner here, there's a T10 screw that we need to pull out. And we'll go ahead and pull that out right now. Torx T10. Okay, got that screw out, T10. I'll set that down here. And the next step is to remove this rubber liner off. And they just slide right over the heads. They're holding it in. So we'll pull that all the way off. Okay, I've got the rubber liner peeled back away. And then I'm supposed to just slide this part out. You can kind of see how some connectors are going in there to the turn signal. Basically, we just want to move it over far enough so that we can get access to another screw, another bolt here. Okay, I have got the turn signal lamp out, and you can see I still got it connected to one bulb. Basically, you need to disconnect from these two bulbs, and it's just an easy quarter turn to pop them out, and then you can hang that over to the side. Now the next thing we got to do is to remove the mounting bolts for the headlamp. There's one, there's two, and then there's a third one back there. 10 millimeter, so we're gonna take those out next. All right, so I've got the three mounting bolts out. Again, 10 millimeter. And you can see the connector there. We're just gonna pop that off. Okay, I got the connector off. This really pops off. Little scissor clips hold over that notch, as you can see. And then it's supposed to be a quarter turn. Quarter turn counterclockwise, I believe. Yeah. Pull that part off. Set that up there. And wiggle the bulb out. There we go. All right. So that is what we're replacing. Get a better look at the connectors. Sylvania. 9007, that's the key number you want. And that's the number I used to search for the replacement. So let's go take a quick look at the replacement bulbs that I got. All right. So again, this is what we pulled out, and this is what we're going to be putting in there. This is what I got off of Amazon, torch beam LED lights. Again, 9007. Comes with some gloves, so we're going to minimize touching the bulb part. And you can see the connectors here. So let's do that next. One thing I want to point out is these bulbs have an extended connector, which is nice, and they have their own little fan on there, so I guess these get fairly hot and that'll help keep them cool. So I'm going to put the gloves on, and then we'll reverse the process and put them in and go from there. Alright, so I've got the housing down here on the ground. There's one thing I wanted to point out, and you see these little notches in here. And so that's important because those notches can block you putting the new bulb back in. And so essentially, you want to make sure you can line those up. And so kind of look at it as maybe 10 and 2 and then 6 o'clock. And then you can see the notches on the inside ring there too. Okay, I got the bulb in, and it's not exactly what I thought based on those notches, so I ended up having to put it in with the cable pointed down, and once you put it in, it goes in flush, and there's no twisting at this point. That's where we're going to use the cap right up here, and we're going to attach that around the threads. Feed it back around. And this will ensure that we get it on there tight. Alright, I got the headlight housing connected. So you can see the connectors. Very simple plug and play. Alright, so we're gonna put all the other bulbs back in their proper spot for the turn signal, get everything screwed back in, and then we'll repeat the process for the other headlight. Real quick, before I finish putting everything back in, I pulled out the turn signal bulbs in case you're looking for what those are. Looks like a P27 7-watt 324. There's 2 of them in the turn signal. That's the orange piece there that's dangling out. And I just popped it out of the little connector there, so in case you need to replace those, mine are working fine, so I'm going to put those back in. And one more bulb, way up in the very top corner here, there's this peanut sized bulb, and I don't see any markings on it. Hard to see anything. It's all glass. It just pops right out of this little casing here, but I'm sure I could Google it and look it up online. But it's working, so I'm going to put it back in. All right, last thing. I noticed there was some water up in the top corner. And so I found there was this little bit of tape that was covering up this hole right here. So I just peeled that off and started shaking the water out and trying to get as much out before I put it back in there. All right, one thing I want to mention is when you're putting this back in, you may not have noticed it when you pulled the turn signal part out. But you see these grooves here? These do line up with this frame right here. So make sure you slide that in. You'll see a little hole where this pops in and lines up, and that makes life a whole lot easier, because otherwise, if you don't line that up, you're not going to get that screw back in there. Okay, got the headlight back in, connected, got the rubber liner reattached. That was pretty straightforward. All right, time to repeat the process on the opposite side, driver's side, but I'm going to skip ahead, and since you know how to do that one, it should be the same on both sides. All right, got both headlights bulbs replaced and headlight housings back installed. So, okay, waited for about the same time as the baseline, roughly 6:30 p.m. And here's the new test with the test with the new headlights. And right off the bat, I can tell that they're much brighter white, being that they're LED instead of the original halogen. So that's the low beam, and that's the high beam. So I think overall, I'm pretty pleased. I like the wider lights. I think that's a little easier on the eyes. See from the front profile, it's much brighter white. I think that looks nice. Easier on the eyes going down the road, other people looking. Alrighty.